Well, that is exactly what this administration is fighting against.
And
it doesn't want the normal to be a high inflation rate.
Yes,
right now, we are, if not suffering, at least we are grappling.
So the thing is, again, that is affecting the economy, like I always say, indirect markets. We have people doing informal marketing, whereby we don't write them in a book. So it's going to be very difficult for government of this to be able to track and even say they can do something about it. Well, for instance, now, someone will go to America and just purchase a car, and will bring it into Nigeria. Probably it's $100,000. Then he will just tell you it's 400 million naira. So what basis? Why is it 400? Just go to Gigi and look at the 2024 cars. You realize that they are selling them as double. Usually, if you ask them, why are you doing this? They say they don't know the stability of naira. So as long as the naira is stable, things would naturally come down. It won't go up. So at this period that we are, China is already on vacation for Chinese festival. So people are not requesting for Forex. So once the Forex is not going up, then things will look normal and stable. But immediately, there's always a demand on the Forex. I need dollar, they go to black market and get it. You know, it's only in Nigeria have black market controlling things. Okay, in other countries, it's difficult to even see the dollar, it is difficult to see the local currency, not talk of, when you look at Ethiopia's economy, you think Ethiopia's economy is better than Nigeria's economy because the rate of their beer to a dollar is about 49 to 50, but ours is 1,500, right? When you look at Kuwait, for instance, it's like double. You pay double dollar, like $2.5 to get 1 Kuwait dinar. So when you're buying a bottle of water in Kuwait and comparing it with bottle of water in Nigeria, you realize Nigeria, to live in Nigeria is cheaper. So internally, within our context, the context of Nigeria's economy, we're doing very well in terms of prices of goods compared to the equivalent outside Nigeria. Outside Nigeria,
which the ordinary Nigerian, who is the overwhelming preponderance of voters when elections come, they don't understand that. They don't understand that. They're not aware of what's happening in the neighboring country. They concern themselves with what's happening in their own country.
So the biggest problem is what they get home, take home pay.
Yes.
They get is very low.
Yes.
Versus their spending. So they look at that. It's a serious topic for the government to look at that. Because if you say 30,000 naira is the average salary of a typical Nigerian, maybe a security man, for instance. How much is $30,000 naira? Is $20 for 30 days. Whereas a counterpart of the same Nigerian in America, mopping floor or a security man is getting $80 per day for 8 hours, $10 per hour. So 2 hours work is what we pay for 720 hours in Nigeria. We pay $20, which is 2 hours work in America, and it's 720 hours in Nigeria. So, but the thing is, when you want to buy food in America, the average you spend, the cheapest is $10, which is 16,000 naira in Nigeria. But you and I do know that we can't go to Mama Put and spend 16,000. You know, it's a serious, but we spend 2,000 to 3,000. But how do you
we're complaining on that 2,000 to 3,000.
Yes, how do you get the 3,000 is the question.
And then what do you go through to get the 3,000
naira? So now, depending on the services that also the individual is rendering. So if you are a mason in the north, which I'm familiar with, in Abuja, a typical mason is collecting 5,000 naira per day for working for 8 hours. So that is 150,000 naira per month when you look at it. If he's going to work for it, but he's going to do 22 days, which is about 110,000 per month. So which is better than someone going for a salary work, white-collar job that is paying 90,000 after going to UK to read. You come back, you spend like 100 million to send a child to school, and his salary is barely up to $150,000. I mean, 150,000 naira per month. And 150,000 naira, mind you, is $100. So for a graduate with master's degree, is getting 150,000. Then at the end of the day, we have the so-called the richest man in the 86th or 86th richest man in the world is coming from Nigeria, and who is also the richest man in Africa. And
in Nigeria,
and also the richest man, the black man in the world. So at the end of the day, it brought down what is not working, what is it working? How is Dangote making it? Why an average Nigerians not getting it? What do they supposed to do? So what is the government supposed to do to us now? The biggest challenge is the next 10 years. Our children, when they get, because everybody has sent his or her child to a very good school. So at the end of the day, they finish up, the competition will be high. So the next we start thinking about living
for white-collar jobs.
Yes, for white-collar jobs. Because if you have, I don't know how many kids you have. I have like 5. So our average adult now will have like 5 kids times 10 million. That's 50 million graduates in the next 10 years, for instance. So where do we have 50 million jobs? No. So everybody will now be doing survival of the fittest. So the Nigerian government need to look at the untapped economy that we're now looking at. For instance, we have solid mineral that we're not looking at. We only depend on the crude oil and some maybe farm products like that.
Are there some developments in the minerals, the solid mineral sector? I thought there was a better promise now that, in fact, contrary to what you've just said, this administration, the Tinubu administration, says we are going to pay particular attention there, and they seem to be, working in that direction. Are you saying that you're not impressed with whatever might have come out of that place?
No, I'm truly impressed with this administration.
Okay.
They have the administration started with a lot of challenges. They need to do a lot of housekeeping by changing the right people with the right people, by changing wrong people with the right people, by changing the wrong people with the wrong people. So it's a normal, typical administrative task that every government will do. So sometimes it takes a whole year if you do not even have enough people to be on. Like, for instance, when you take a look at Trump, before he got into his administration, 60 days before, his ministers were ready. Right? But in Nigeria, in our context, because of political reasons, sometimes it takes like 6 months. Sometimes it takes even more than, but Tinubu's administration really try. Under 90 days, they were able to come up with a list. And at some point, they are not doing well, he will shuffle them. Right? And one of the biggest challenges of Nigerians earlier was security issue. But now it seems like the security has been stabilized to some extent.
You think so?
Yeah, compared to before.
Well, compared to where we were before.
Yeah. So we should be appreciative of our improvement. Just like the CPI that we're saying we're not happy with. Because they look at, okay, in January things had come down, but they don't look at the fact that in December it has gone up. So definitely January will come down because no people
because that's the pattern. It's a seasonal pattern.
So now next month is going to go high. So you now have to pick from January last year to December. How did
comparing month for month,
the trend, or 3 years month in month out. So when you do that, you now realize that it's fairly stable. Like I was telling you, it's China's festival that is affecting our economy now. But next month, you truly understand the true position of our economy. But I know I was talking about Tinubu's administration. I'm impressed with certain things they're doing. In the area of security, he wanted to have a stable security officers. I mean, people heading security organizations. Like, for instance, police now. There's a controversy around the IG supposed to go or not to go. When you look at, okay, IG spent 1 year. He has an agenda, how to implement the agenda. But after 1 year, he's going. Another person will come. So there will be instability in the personnel, moving them from one place to another. So that's why they have to now adjust our constitution to make it right that it should be a tenure base, not by age or not by number of years you spend. So to now look like, even though he's supposed to be an officer, but he's still an officer. An officer today will be officer tomorrow, whether he is retired or not. So that's why I say I'm impressed with how Tinubu is handling things gradually. So, but we can fix Nigeria if we can get the thinking of Mohammed Tinubu and how he's handling things for the next 20 years. Meaning, stability.
Nigeria
because
over the next 20 years.
Yes.